30th meeting of the Lake County Board of Commissioners. Would all those who are willing and able please rise and join in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of our country. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Grant us, O Lord, light to our understanding, prudence in our investigating, foresight in our planning, sincerity in our deliberating, the grace to follow truth in our judgment. Help us to be moved in our decision, neither by fear nor by self-interest, and to do our work faithfully. May we respect the authority vested in us, for thou art the source of all authority. And may we use in our directives for the common good and for thy honor and glory. Amen. Amen. Thank you all. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Regovich.
Here.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Present.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Here. Okay, very good. All right, this moves us to our first public comment portion of our meeting. And we have some wonderful presentations here. Commissioner Plechnik, you've got that professor's voice. And if you don't mind, sir.
Mr. President, I couldn't be more honored to read the resolution honoring Captain Cynthia Brooks for 39 years of dedicated service to the Lake County Sheriff's Office. Whereas Captain Cynthia Brooks has dedicated 39 years of service to law enforcement, beginning her career in the field of corrections in November of 1984. Since then, she has displayed outstanding service in her many positions for the department. And whereas her excellence and dedication were quickly noticed through her willingness to play an active role in the professional development of staff, she became a sergeant in 1991, lieutenant in 1993, served as administrator of the minimum security facility, and then became captain in 2012. Throughout this time, she put herself through college and attained an associate's degree in criminal justice. In addition, she graduated from the Ohio Police Officers Training Academy, the National Institute Program for Corrections Administrators, the Police Executive Leadership College, PELC, and the Certified Law Enforcement Executives Program, CLEE. She successfully tested for and has since regularly maintained her certification at the AGA as Certified Jail Administrator. Now, therefore, we, the Board of Commissioners, in and of Lake County, honor and commend Captain Cynthia Brooks for 39 years of dedication to the safety of the residents of the community, and wish her many years of health and happiness surrounded by her family and friends as she forges a new path in retirement. We love you, Captain. God bless you, and congratulations.
Captain, the microphone is yours, ma'am.
Well, thank you. It's been a long, hard road, 39 years. And today is my birthday. So it's a birthday. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain. Sheriff. Is this part we should be singing Happy Birthday? I could sing solo. Solo, you can't hear me.
I remember when I first started my career in the jail that's no longer located, it's a parking lot now, and meeting Cynthia Brooks. Cynthia Brooks started in the field of corrections as a young person out of high school, ready to take charge, and she did. And she has been a major part of the direction of our corrections division since then. Very creative. She had, as they said, started the Women in Transitions program that a lot of other jails model today. She worked her way up through sergeant, lieutenant, and as captain and head of the jail. She had a command presence in the jail, which made a big difference. I just want to relate one story. One night, the inmates decided they were not going to lock down. And so you had these ranges of men that said, come and get us. And they called in some law enforcement officers, and Captain Brooks was made aware of it from home, and she made her way into the jail. She arrived, and there were, like 12 police officers outside the range trying to decide what they were going to do. And she said, threw her keys and her coat to the side, said, open up the door. They said, what are you doing? She says, well, I'm going in. And she walked in, and she said, lock down. They said, but, she says, everybody, get in your cells. And they all locked down because of that command presence. It was because Captain Brooks treated people fairly, but firmly. And that type of command presence is very important in running a successful correctional facility. She's made a difference through 39 years of service, and we thank her and we wish her all the best as she moves forward to a new part of her life. So, excellent individual.
Well, Captain, we have a full room here, so I'm sure is there anyone else wishing to add to the conversation? Or are we going to give the sheriff the final word here? Sir, thank you. Captain Brooks, well done, ma'am. Well done.
I'd like to say something.
And you know we can't do this without the pictures here. What do we? Oh, here we come. Here we come. Welcome.
Thank you, commissioners. Set. My name is Tony Brooks, and that's my sister. And I'm so proud of her, especially for her achievements coming from Kmart and working her way all up. And as the sheriff just said, the way she commands the authority, Mom would be so proud of her, because when we were little, she hit me in the head with a teddy bear and cut me up pretty bad with the teddy bear. So even when she was little, she was commanding an audience. But I love her so much. I'm so proud of her, and I'm glad that she was taken very good care of by those gentlemen back there, and I really appreciate it.
Bless you. Thank you. Any other family or friends wishing to address the board? Anybody else? Come on now. A lot of smiles out there. Come on up, Bishop. Welcome.
Gerard Mabel, 1049 Brentwood Drive. I came here in 1983, and for today it's 40 years. It is so good to have a friend like Captain Brooks. I'm so pleased to know her and so pleased to see what she accomplished in our community. This is a great leader.
Indeed.
Mr. President,
Sir.
Excuse me, I'm not Mrs. Talker, but she is my goddaughter.
Come on up to the microphone. Well, okay, we had Mama say something kind there, so, and you know you have to listen. There you go. Thank you.
Mr. President, I just want to say, as I hear her family talk about how proud they are of Captain Cynthia Brooks, we'd be remiss if we don't say that all of Lake County is proud of Captain Brooks and grateful to her for her hard work. As I hear from the NAACP as well, I'd be remiss if I didn't note that just last year, Captain Brooks won the Lake County NAACP's Robert H. Fontaine Community Public Service and Safety Award. And also last year, just remarkably, won the Ray Coleman Administrator of the Year Award for managing a detention facility, and that is a national award. She was essentially named the jail administrator of the year for the entire United States of America. And that reflects the incredible commitment that she made to her community, that she was the best in the nation, and I would argue the best in the world. So thank you, Captain.
Mr. Massey. You know, you can't send your public records requests anymore.
Brian Massey, 8196. I just want to tell the community my exposure to Captain Brooks was when I got a tour of the jail facility. And I have to say, the one thing that I came away with, that jail was just immaculate. I mean, I was so moved to say, somebody is taking good care of these people, and I have to say it's probably Captain Brooks. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Regovich.
Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of myself and Lake County, I want to thank Captain Brooks for achieving a level of excellence that served Lake County well, but also for the rest of the United States to look and see what we do here, and having that bar raised so high. It's going to be a tough act to follow. I know we have well-trained officers behind, but it's what she did in her 39 years is incredible. And again, thank you on behalf of Lake County, and I hope you have a long retirement, happy retirement, and healthy retirement.
And Captain, I've long held to the belief that when you speak with authority, it is always good to say, well said. But you've always taken it to the next level of what you speak, you perform, which is why it is the highest honor to say, well done. And you have achieved that. Well done. And we are indebted to you, ma'am. Thank you. But you have to suffer one last indignity. You got to take pictures with us. So come on up and here we go. We got the choreography going. Yay. There it is. Okay, 1, 2, 3. And thank you. Oh, don't move, okay. Is there any cake? still, that's a good sign. And that's a pretty tough act to follow, so let's see how well we can do it here. Commissioner Regovich, batter up.
Thank you so much. I have the honor and privilege to thank Michael DeLeon as he was appointed to the juvenile court common pleas here. And as you can tell, he really likes kids. So, for his appointment as judge of the Lake County Court of Common Pleas Juvenile Division, whereas Michael L. DeLeon was recently appointed to the Lake County Court of Common Pleas Juvenile Division as judge by Governor Mike DeWine and will begin his term August 14th, 2023. Michael earned his bachelor's degree in political science in 1995 from Kent State University and the Cleveland Marshall College of Law. He earned his Juris Doctorate in 2000, Master of Law degree in 2007, and Michael began his career in law in 2001 as an associate attorney for McIntyre, Kahn and Cruz Company, LPA. In July of 2002, Michael joined the Lake County Prosecutor's Office and is assistant prosecuting attorney. Michael currently serves on the boards of Lake Geauga Head Start, the Lake County Employees Federal Credit Union, and the Lake County Salvation Army. Now, therefore, we, the Board of Commissioners in and of Lake County, join in celebrating the Honorable Michael L. DeLeon as he begins his term on August 14, 2023, and offer him congratulations. Good luck.
Thank you.
Wow. I'm very humbled and honored by this appointment. I wanted to thank all my clients, this board, each and every one of you I've worked with individually and as a board on many cases through the years. The sheriff who's here with us today, he was actually my first assignment as an assistant prosecuting attorney back in 2002 when he was Captain Liam Bruno. All the elected officials have been so good to me through the years. I was honored to work with you, for you, and to earn your trust through that time. I also would be remiss if I didn't thank my wife, who's here with us today, my mom, who's here with us today, and my wife and I, our 5 children who are all here with us to celebrate this occasion. This has been a dream of mine for a long time, and I could not think of any better court than juvenile court where you have the best impact for children. All I can say is thank you, and I am very honored.
Bless you, Mike. Mike, that was very eloquent, and I have to say there was this little part of me that was wondering, is he going to walk up to the microphone and say, no report, and sit down? Gentlemen, anything you want to add?
Mr. President, as a commissioner, I'm so grateful to Mr. DeLeon for his years of dedicated service to our Lake County Prosecutor's Office. There is no more important role in the justice system, and you performed it admirably in a way that gave confidence to all of your clients and everyone that you worked with. You kept Lake County safe. As a law professor, I have a great deal of gratitude to Governor DeWine for his wisdom in appointing such a qualified person to serve in this most important role. As you just heard, Mr. DeLeon not only has his Juris Doctor from Cleveland Marshall, Cleveland State University, a place that I know a little bit about, but he also went on to earn his advanced law degree, his LLM, something only a very small percentage of lawyers do. And that shows his dedication not just to success, but true excellence in his profession and field. No one made him go back to school to earn that degree, but he had the drive to be the best. And we should expect the best in a court that can have such an impact on our children and the future of Lake County. So once again, as a professor, I'm grateful to the governor for having such wisdom in his choice. But I will say, as just me, I think first and foremost of a friend. And I know that Judge DeLeon is going to be a friend to all those who come through his courthouse, being juvenile court judge, and he knows this better than anyone, is not always an easy role, and you have to make tough decisions where families are at difficult points that may change their lives forever. But someone has to make those tough choices and help those families through, and I know you will do it with love and compassion. So in every respect, I am so grateful that you have this opportunity to do even more good for Lake County in this new role. Congratulations, Mike.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Mike, coming onto this board, I've known you before I got here, but the transition's easy when our legal department, we have lots of heavy things that we have to lift and things we have to do, and we seem to do it with humor and other things that I'll truly miss. And thank you for all your guidance and your knowledge, and doing. Most people don't see what you or your fellow prosecutors do for Lake County, and how much money you save and things like that in court cases. So continue your good work. I know you're just across the street now, so if I ever just need to come over and poke fun at you, I know how to do it. So
Absolutely.
Mike, I have to say that on the issue of working through things, good spirit and humor, I got to tell you, the fact that you worked through personal injuries was really important to us. That paper cut was just amazing how you handled it. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, sir.
And speaking of indignities, come on up.
Could I have my family join us?
Absolutely. Can I, as if there's any doubt, he's asking if he could have his family join. Come on. Once again, thank you, Mike. Thank you to your family for sharing you with us. That's important. Now, I get the pleasure of this next one. I have the certificate of recognition honoring Kelly Johnson for her dedication to Letters of Love. Whereas the Board of Lake County Commissioners recognize Kelly Johnson for leading the Letters of Love project in Lake County for the past 5 years. Kelly has worked hard to engage the community to share in this joyous project to connect with Lake County seniors. Seniors in our community light up when they receive their letters of love as it touches their heart. It reminds all of us that we are all connected by love, even when those who are many miles away or those who have never met. Whereas this year, the Council on Aging collected over 1,400 cards. More than ever before, letters of love were distributed to 700 homes and delivered Meals on Wheels recipients and 200 seniors who enjoyed lunch in the Wickliffe, Willowick, Madison, Haynesville Lunch Place on Valentine's Day, February 14th. Now, therefore, the Board of Lake County Commissioners in and for Lake County commend Kelly Johnson for her continued dedication to lead this project for the Council on Aging and engage individuals and groups in Lake County, which brings joy to so many isolated seniors. I also have been asked to read a little letter here, and when you hear a lady, just think Laura. And this is a lady took out a newspaper ad to tell a student thank you. The personal ad said, "Thank you to Ben, 5th grade middle school student, for your beautiful Valentine's card, Kathy." A lady called us to let us know that she liked her Valentine. A lady named Donna, who is 82 years old, called to say thank you for the Valentine's Day card that she received with her Meals on Wheels lunch. She stated that it had made her happy in her day, and she truly was thankful for the kind gesture. A lady, again Laura, sent an email to let us know that her dad got a Valentine card from Meals on Wheels. My dad lives in Wycliffe. I get those W's mixed up all the time. Sorry, folks. My dad lives in Wycliffe and gets Meals on Wheels delivered every day. When I came over after work to check on my dad yesterday, I found this sweet card made by one of your 9th grade students, Taylor. You have no idea how this lifted my heart. He had it displayed in the center of the kitchen table and was so happy to show it to me. The card was the only thing that brought happiness to us, that brought happiness to any of us since my mom was hospitalized weeks ago. She passed away last Thursday. My dad has dementia, so some days he stares outside the window waiting for Mom to come back. He sometimes tries to call the hospital looking for her. It is absolutely heartbreaking, but this Valentine card was all he talked about yesterday. It was part of our family artwork now. And the end of my mom's obituary, there was a part about it being kind. As a mom who raised 2 successful granddaughters, I fostered the core traits of character, empathy, being one of them. I promise you, selfless acts like this go farther than your students can ever imagine. Please share with your wonderful students who wrote out Valentine's cards for the elderly. Taylor's special act of kindness means the world to us. Please tell her so. And Laura is asking that this story pretty much be shared around the world. These kinds of stories are not isolated. They are so very important. And these little gestures do make such a big difference. Laura, I believe you have an opportunity here for the microphone, and your friend can come up here, and that's the part where everybody stops being shy. Come on up. There you go.
Hi, I'm Anne Marie, Lake County Council on Aging. Commissioner Hamercheck said a lot of what I had here as well, so that's okay. Lake County Council on Aging just really wants to thank Kelly. She started this project 5 years ago, and it was in memory of her neighbor, Betty, who died in 2016 at the age of 93. And Kelly shared with me how she saw Lake County Council on Aging helping her neighbor with Meals on Wheels, and she wanted to give back. And so she started this in memory of this neighbor. And the first year, Kelly collected 100 cards. It has grown each year, with this year being the biggest, and Kelly collected 1,452 cards. Kelly has not done this on her own, but she has led this, and she's worked hard, and her and I have communication all year round on this project. She's engaged many community members, teachers, students, Girl Scouts. She has a list of community members that she will share with us. One being a friend of mine that I worked with, so it was very exciting to see her when I came to Kelly's house last year to pick up the cards. And as you shared in that email, we also at the Council on Aging get many calls from different clients and family members that just enjoy a card. Many of our seniors are home alone and don't get a lot of interaction, so it means a lot to have, especially the kids, do these cards for people. So we can't tell you how proud we are of Kelly and how much we appreciate her. So I'm gonna let Kelly. She made me come up here, so now I'm making her come up here, so you'll be okay.
I know, you're staying, right?
Yeah, I'll stay with you.
So I just want to say thank you to Diane Kwasny and Madonna Fassenpar. Madonna's actually here with us. They picked up the cards, and they actually helped me go through all 1,452 cards. We had to check them individually. Michelle Kane and Heidi Tudor are also here. They're art teachers from Menor High who stepped up and helped the kids. Absolutely, we'll have the kids do it. Marissa Saradew, she's a student, and she went to her fellow students and asked them to help out. Her mom, Gina, is a teacher at Limouth, and she also did it. Julie Kramer is a neighbor of mine, a friend, and she's been helping me for about 3 years. She's from Medicine Elementary. Erica Blackburn is a principal at Memorial Middle School and Menor, and Heather Hardy is an administrator, and they all were willing to let me do what I needed to do. So, and I appreciate everybody doing that for me. Good.
Well said. Thank you. Gentlemen, anything you want to add?
Mr. President, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Lake County might be the smallest county in Ohio geographically, but we're #1 for seniors. And there's a lot of reasons for that. We think about Meals on Wheels from the Lake County Council on Aging. We think about Dial-A-Ride and the access that gives to our seniors from Lake Tran. But all of that is reinforced and brought together by the neighbors who care about their neighbors and the community. And what I see in Kelly Johnson is the heart of that community. The love that you've shared with your neighbors, to go beyond just giving them a meal and make it a visit, to make it a moment that reminds them that people do care, that they have friends, that they have neighbors who are there for them. And you've been there for so many people.
Thank you.
And you brought together so many people to help you in this very important project. You've inspired a lot of folks to do better for their community and to do great things. So I want to thank you for all that you've done, but I also want to thank you in advance for what I know you'll continue to do.
Absolutely. Thank you. We're not stopping now.
There you go. Commissioner?
We do a lot in our county to help seniors, and it's easy to go to the senior centers and see the ones that we do see. It's the ones that don't show up I always worried about, and this is a great way to reach out to those people and know that they're okay, or hopefully that they're okay, and know that someone's thinking about them. So good work and keep it up.
Thank you.
And Kelly, although you're the one getting the recognition, your humility comes through when you recognize those who are helping you achieve this and doing so much good behind the scenes. This is a true example of everyone doing a little bit of good.
Thank you.
It adds up.
Thank you. And I want to say Anne Marie is awesome, and she's like, I cannot do this without her. So
There you go.
Like she said, we're on the phone like probably once a month, once every 2 months, talking about Valentine's cards. It's October, and we're talking about Valentine's cards.
There you go. There you go. And I will say, before you have a chance to sit down, we're going to get pictures with you, because I know if we get you down, we're not going to get you back out
That's
of
right.
that chair.
That's right.
It's a one and done, Kelly.
Bye, guys.
You want me to picture with you?
Yes, yeah, we're grabbing everybody.
Balance things out here a little bit. Once again, Kelly, thank you. All right, well, we are still in our first public comment portion. Moving on with our normal activities. Is there anyone wishing to address the board in our first public comment? Anyone at all? Sir. Prosecutor Colson. I saw the whole thing, officer.
Unfortunately, I couldn't be here earlier. I understand the festivities concerning Mike DeLeon were over. But I wanted to get here and just say a few words.
Indeed. Is your microphone on, sir?
Can you hear me now? Yeah, I think it's green. Wasn't on.
There you go. Okay. These words are memorable.
I just wanted to say a few words in public to thank Mike DeLeon for what he has done for Lake County and what he's done for the Lake County Prosecutor's Office over the last 21-some years. He's done a lot of great work. He's been in all of the different divisions, criminal, juvenile, civil, mostly in the civil, and he's done a lot of work that for the county that people just don't recognize. But I wanted to point out, since he's got his beautiful family here, the best work he has ever done is to marry his lovely wife and raise such a fine, beautiful family of 5.
Is that what they call a labor of love?
I don't know how to respond. But I just wanted to thank you, Mike, for everything you've done for the county. And we're lucky, with Captain Brooks, she's leaving us, and we're going to miss her. We're going to miss Captain Brooks terribly. Well, what a leader, what an inspiration. But we're not going to lose Mike. We lose Captain Brooks. Mike is just moving offices. He's just moving from one building to another, and we're still going to have him here in Lake County, so Lake County doesn't lose anything there, even though we do lose Captain Brooks. And Captain Brooks, thank you for everything you've done.
Mr. Weiss, I believe you want to speak.
I'm Chris Weiss from Leroy. I wanted to add to congratulating Captain Brooks. I know her brother Tony, who owns Turk's Computer, and have done business with him for more than a decade. And all I could say is I know that some of the best performing people that give the most to the community come from quality families. And through my association with Captain's brother, I can tell you the Brooks family is a very quality family. I also good friends with one of the ladies that works with her, Michelle Prather, in the sheriff's department, and I can tell you, particularly the lady jailers do an amazing job. They're just really great, and we're glad that we've had her here. Thank you, Captain. I also wanted to congratulate Judge DeLeon. Judge DeLeon could fall back on a career as a woodworker if the judge thing doesn't work out. I only recently became acquainted with him, but if you have any people that you need to send to do some community service, we could probably come up with some projects and do some woodworking for the community for some of those kids to rehabilitate them. But congratulations, Judge. I really came up here, and I'm happy to say that I have some really great stuff to say about Commissioner Pleshnik today. And I'm happy to be able to do that. Commissioner Pleshnik talked up the Lake County Junior Livestock Auction, which this is the program from that. And boy, did he come out swinging. I mean, he came out seriously as a bidder. To give some context to this, these are all the animals that the kids, 4-H kids in the community have raised. They've become their pets. The quality of care of these animals is, second to none. They're babied, they're well fed, they're kept clean, and then ultimately the kids are expected to bring them forth and put them up for auction, and knowing that these animals are going to be slaughtered and their pets are going to die. But it starts out with the smallest animals, the rabbits, and while you could have had the Grand Champion rabbit pen for as little as a bargain of $360, Commissioner Pleshnik held off, started bidding on the chickens, bid up chickens to $110 a pound. And just so you know, the chickens come two to a pen, and the average weight's like 19 pounds. So it ultimately, he lost out to somebody who's going to be a political rival for a commissioner seat in the future, who bid $125. Can you imagine paying $2,375 for 2 live chickens? Okay, but not to be thwarted, the commissioner continued to bid and came out swinging. The very next animal was the ducks, and a young lady named Rosie Bennett had 17 pounds of ducks, and Commissioner Pleshnik bid to $215 a pound for ducks. Ultimately, he lost to his competitor at $225 a pound. So that cost him $3,847, the guy who won, okay? Now, you also have to understand, it's not only politicians or people who want to be politicians that bid on these animals. There's veterinarians, livestock people, prominent families who are in the 4-H program. The next ducks went for $150 a pound, or $2,800 to George Lasnik, who's a prominent farmer in Leroy and 4-H family. Then the prices dropped. So the third finisher in ducks went for $30 a pound. So from $225 to $30. Next thing coming up was turkeys. Turkeys went for $40 a pound. 2 live turkeys at 85 pounds, $3,400 to the Walker Brothers. Coming into the goats, once again, Commissioner Pleshnik came in strong, bidding on multiple goats. The Grand Champion went for $105 a pound. Commissioner Pleshnik bid it up to $90. And you got to understand, he's sitting here in the audience and holding his card up, and then he keeps holding it up, and then it's a little bit longer for the next one, a little bit longer, a little bit of sweat on the brow, I mean, $200 for a duck, that's per pound, okay, not just for the animal, that's per pound, okay. And then he did finally win, bidding on the number 4 goat, $33 a pound, $2,300. Mr. Pleshnik came away with a win on the auction. But really what I want to illustrate is the community backing these kids. This becomes an event. It's very entertaining to watch. And when you see these kids and their faces light up, can you imagine being a teenager selling your ducks for $225 a pound? How the beaming smile on that kid's face. So again, wanted to thank Commissioner Pleshnik for coming. I'd like everybody to consider, bidding on animals next year. Incidentally, the most expensive animal was not the Grand Champion cow. It went for $10.50 a pound, but there was another cow down the list, went for $13 a pound. So one kid came away with over $15,000 for his steer. A lot. And then the sad and poignant part, and I hope I can say this without breaking up, these kids, I know you may not be able to see this, but here's a picture of a little girl saying goodbye to her animal. So the kids understand what they're doing, and we really appreciate everyone, including Commissioner Pleshnik, for supporting them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Weiss. Candidly, as I often refer to Mr. Massey, I was expecting you to refer to Commissioner Pleshnik as the biggest loser. It's like, okay, I was waiting for you to say, but you ran thing, to Commissioner Pleshnik's credit. I was voice of the fair and trying to gin things up and steer people that way. I gotta say, I'm sorry you lost out on the ducks. I know last year you got the ducks. But you did get a good critter there. So do you want to kind of comment on that now, or you want to get into that under new business?
Mr. President, I would just say that it was once again a record-breaking auction for the kids. We officially have the numbers. Over $400,000 was raised. So very happy for the kids to have such a wonderful livestock auction.
Indeed, and that that makes a difference in so many of these 4-H youths' lives, because those dollars really do go to worthy and worthwhile endeavors in their lives as they move forward to adulthood. And that, again, the passion that you expressed, that young lady saying goodbye to her farm animal, that was touching. They invest so much, and these critters become part of the family in a way, in a sense. Commissioner Ragovich, anything you want to answer?
I was happy to see them break the record, and I think 2 years in a row they did, so it's impressive, and the care and they put in those animals all year long is commendable.
Indeed. Thank you. All right, continuing. Anyone in the audience wishing to address the board in the first? Sir, welcome.
I'm going to roast you live, Mike. I'm just kidding. Adam Licky with the Health Department. I just wanted to say congratulations to the Honorable Mr. DeLeon. I've worked with him for about 9 years now at the Health Department, and as Mr. Colson said, and as Mr. Hackman knows, there was times we'd call him at 9, 10 o'clock at night, at midnight, 5 in the morning, whenever we decided to call Mike, he would always pick up. We'd always talk. My wife would usually ask, is he wearing khakis, just like the commercial, because he's always on the phone with Mike. He helped us through the fire. He helped us through some financial issues, through COVID, through some other things that went on. And he really is going to be, he's a huge asset to the county. I'm sure Mike or Mr. Hackman has his job cut out for him with the crew he has left trying to fill that void. So can't say enough good things about the Honorable Mr. DeLeon.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Okay, anyone else wishing to address the board at this time? Anyone else? All right, Madam Clerk, moving on to agenda item number 1, please.
In the Utilities Department, resolution accepting a 3-year maintenance bond in the amount of $13,934 for Auburn Road Sanitary Sewer Extension Job number 22-49 in Concord Township.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Ragovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution approving final estimate number 7, release of retainage in the amount of $109,655.52 with Miller Brothers Construction Incorporated, and accepting a 3-year maintenance bond in the amount of $279,670.50 for Phase 6 Part E Cell Construction Project 421L 2019 for the Lake County Department of Utilities.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Randy, do you want to give a little background? That sounds very technical to those who may be tuning in.
This is just closing out one of our projects, many projects out the landfill for landfill expansion. This was a very successful contract with Miller Brothers, and we'll have some more projects coming up, but this just closes one of the phases that we've been working on to make sure there's capacity at the landfill.
Thank you. Anything further? Thank you, Randy. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Ragovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution increasing appropriations within Lake County Department of Utilities, Project Fund 596, Adams, Melridge, and Industrial Park, Project 415S, 2018.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion. None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Ragovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution increasing appropriations within Lake County Department of Utilities, Project Fund 596, Kirtland Old Town Sewer, Project 445S, 2021.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion. None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Ragovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution to delete a sewer sum certified to the Lake County Auditor.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion. No, we're not going to talk about we're deleting a $2.21 and a 33-cent administration fee. This is good stuff, folks. Hey, every penny counts. All right, on that note, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Ragovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
And Job and Family Services Department, resolution approving Lake County Department of Job and Family Services vouchers, date of warrant August 11, 2023, and the amount of $125,055.33.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion. None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Ragovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
In the Commissioner's Office, resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of the County of Lake approving solely for purposes of Section 147F of the Internal Revenue Code the issuance by the National Finance Authority of qualified 501c3 bonds as defined in Section 145 of the Internal Revenue Code in one or more series in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $300 million for the purpose of financing the acquisition, construction, improvement, and equipping of hospital and/or other healthcare facilities, a portion of which are located in Lake County, Ohio, and certain other matters relating thereto.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution approving the final dedication plat for McKinley Crossing subdivision in Painesville Township.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution appointing Nancy E. Fellows to the Lakeland Community College Board of Trustees to complete the remainder of a term expiring March 6, 2025.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Commissioner Plechnik?
Mr. President, I've had the honor of serving under then Council President Nancy Fellows for 4 years and serving with her for 6. She loves her community. She fights for her community. And she's always had a special place in her heart for Lakeland Community College. I remember standing with her right after she had won her Woman of Achievement Award from Lakeland. And after years of taking classes there, of working with seminars and teaching, this is just a beautiful completion of the circle where she can give back in a new and higher way. I'd also be remiss if I didn't say that her husband, Mr. Fellows, in the past not only served as Lake County Commissioner, but as a trustee for Lakeland and as a member of their Hall of Fame, just as you are, Mr. President. So I know that this is very special, not just to Nancy, but to their entire family, that she's able to make such a great contribution to such an important institution in our county. We know that going forward, there's nothing more important than our health. And in the medical industry, there are just not enough doctors and nurses. We need to have a new focus, a renewed focus in education to prepare those folks for the careers that will actually be there. And as someone who served as a nurse and received national distinctions for her many years in that profession, Nancy is specially positioned to help guide Lakeland in teaching that next generation of healthcare workers who will make sure that we are all kept healthy and safe. So this may be one of the most important votes we ever take, and I just want to punctuate that, because the good that Nancy will do over the next year and a half, and hopefully many years thereafter, will be felt for not just decades, but centuries to come, as we make sure that Lakeland Community College continues its mission as the first college founded by a vote of the people in the state of Ohio. Congratulations, Nancy. I know you're going to pass. I know it in my heart.
Commissioner Regovich, anything you want to answer?
I agree with Commissioner Plechnik. To have a member on that board to oversee the medical side of things, the nursing, with that new building, that new facility they have, we have to make sure that we get a good use out of that building, and we keep those nurses and professionals coming, and as they are in great demand, not only here in Lake County, but throughout the United States. So, thank you.
Indeed. Okay, and with that, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes, and I'd like to point out, Nancy is in the audience. Anything you want to say or add? Here's your chance. And welcome. Thank you for offering to serve.
Thank you, Commissioners. I could not be more delighted, excited, and honored to be appointed to the Lakeland Community College Board of Trustees. I know some of the trustees already, so I'm looking forward to working with them
along with the administration. I kind of forgot that Dale had been a trustee, so I guess I'm following his footsteps. I remembered that, but he is so, and to my husband Dale, he is so supportive of everything that I do. And it is so exciting to know that there has been a huge donation to the nursing program, and that Lakeland is migrating from an AD 2-year RN program to the Bachelor of Science BSN program too. So that's really exciting time to be part of the trustees. I so looking forward to that. And I've had, as Commissioner Pleshek mentioned, I've had other special opportunities to be in and around Lakeland. So this is coming full circle for me. So I want to thank you. But I also want to thank my manager, Reggie Hammond is here with me today. We've been working together in the field, and so it was the most appropriate time for her to be there so she can see the other part of me that works in the community besides my nursing profession and what I do in the role for my company that I work for. So, but heartfelt thanks to all of you for this appointment. I couldn't be more thrilled. Thank you.
There we go. And no, you can't get away. Hold on, as long as you're in the room. We got to do the photos. Yeah. That's kind of like the receipt. It proves you were here.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And again, Nancy, thank you for offering to serve. And you mentioned the nursing program at Lakeland, and I think it bears value in mentioning, even as a 2-year program, Lakeland has one of the highest first-time pass rates for licensing in the state of Ohio, outpacing 4-year colleges. That's a real testament to the quality of the education coming out of Lakeland Community College, our Lakeland Community College. So I think that's something worth saying and saying again and shouting from the rooftops. So I look forward to that program becoming dominant in the state of Ohio. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk.
Resolution reappointing Amy L. Cossack to the Lake County Planning Commission for a term expiring August 14th, 2026.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. President,
Sir.
I would just like to extend my thanks to both Amy Cossack and Wally Siegel for being willing to continue their important work on the Planning Commission. As commissioners, we all sit on the commission. We see firsthand how important it is to the economic development and the long-term master plan for the development of our county. So this is a very significant role, and the fact that both Amy and Wally are willing to continue to donate their experience to the county, we are very grateful.
Well said and agreed. Mr. Regovich, anything you want to answer?
That's not many people know what the Planning Commission does, but as we see earlier today, we're still robust and building here in Lake County, and places like Painesville Township today has that in front of us, so that all gets vetted through them, and appreciate their work and their time.
Very good. All right, if there's nothing further, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution reappointing Walter R. Siegel to the Lake County Planning Commission for a term expiring August 14, 2026.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
And the Finance Department, resolution approving payment of bills as listed on the Commissioner's Approval Journal in the amount of $940,881.77.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution approving purchase orders as listed on the Commissioner's Purchase Order Approval Journal in the amount of $294,201.88.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution increasing an appropriation for a non-general fund account.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution transferring appropriations within various general fund accounts.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes. Moving on to departmental reports, utilities.
Thank you, Commissioner. I know Mike De Leon has left, but I just want to publicly thank him for all the guidance and help he's given myself and our department over the last 20 years or so. So just thank you to Mike.
Well said, sir. Thank you. Job and Family Services.
Good morning, Commissioner. Today I wanted to highlight that August is Child Support Awareness Month. You may not know that 1 in 3 children in Ohio are actually involved with the child support program. Our child support division offers a variety of services to families regardless of their income. Our staff are responsible for enforcing all of the child support orders issued from our juvenile court and domestic relations court. We also work with other states when needed for interstate case establishment and enforcement. In Lake County, we have over 10,000 child support cases right now, and I wanted to mention that in 2022, we collected close to $33 million in child support payments. So this is an opportunity to also thank our hardworking staff who are collecting these dollars and enforcing orders. And that is all I have today. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. County Administrator Jason Boyd.
Good morning. I just want to let Judge De Leon know that I'm still waiting on some stuff before he leaves. Just kidding. Congratulations to Mike. Secondly, just at 12:30 this afternoon, I know the commissioners, the sheriff and his team, the clerk of courts, will be having a really exciting event celebrating two significant achievements out at the Range Project. 12:30 we'll be cutting the ribbon, opening phase 1, which is the indoor training facility. We'll be walking 40 feet across the site for phase 2, which will be the groundbreaking ceremony. Actually, we're going to have the ceremony, and tomorrow morning the product will be delivered on site, and construction is slated to begin Monday the 7th for phase 2. So if anyone has the ability to slide out, and hopefully we're done by then, we would welcome everyone to come to the range and celebrate that significant achievement. It's been about a year to the day since the commissioners were out there to break ground. So that concludes my report.
Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk.
The next commissioners meeting is going to be on Thursday, August 10th, 2023 at 10 a.m. And also I wanted to mention, I know Mike De Leon did leave, but I worked with him at the City of Painesville as well, and I'm looking forward to seeing what his successes as a judge. So I want to say congratulations.
Excellent point. And that capacity was as a member of council, if I remember correctly.
Yes, he was a councilman for, I think, a couple terms in the city. Yep.
There you go. No stranger to elected service. Excellent. Thank you, ma'am. Moving on to legal.
I feel like I got to say something other than no reports, Commissioner.
Indeed. Thank you. That would have been awkward.
I think Mr. Colson summed it up best about Mike. When I think of Mike De Leon, I think of the consummate father. He really is a good family man, and I really, on the work side of things, I depended on him for quite a few things. But the biggest, the best attribute for Michael is that he's a good father. When I think about Mike becoming a judge, he's got big shoes to fill for the late Judge Lawson. I will say also that I've had the privilege of working with a number of the judges when they were assistant prosecutors. Judge Falkowski, Judge Collada, Judge Bartolotta, Judge Condon. Am I missing anyone? A number of judges have come out of the Lake County Prosecutor's Office, and I'm proud of that. If Mike follows suit with those judges I just named, he'll do just fine as a juvenile court judge.
Agreed.
And I wish the best of luck to him.
Well said, sir. Thank you.
Why did he skip Judge O'Donnell?
I would have rather skipped all of them except Judge O'Donnell. Thank you, Sheriff. Sorry, Judge.
Yes, this little voice coming from the back of the room. Oh my. All right, moving on. Thank you, sir. Any old business? Do we have any old business to come before the board? Any old business? Moving on to new business. Do we have any new business? Any new business? Do you want to expand upon our fair experience? I got to say, that was, I think we all did Voice of the Fair. I think we all had a great deal of joy and pleasure. And we got to talk about everything from the new pavement to the roofs over there. So you got Commissioner Regovich?
I was, we were all there Friday, which turned out to be the hottest day, I think, and for senior day. And that's always fun. They come out for lunch, and Commissioner Pleshnik did call bingo. So that was, we had a good time there. Then all of us joined Commissioner Hamercheck for Voice of the Fair for a while. We had a good time with that. So I always enjoy the fair. I always enjoy being the voice of the fair. As you all know, I back from when I was my mayor days, I always did opening day with Mayor Morley, and so it's a good time. They keep turning the volume down on us, though. I don't know. But it was a great turnout this year again, and the parade was nice, and it's just hard to believe it's over already. We wait in anticipation like a kid would, and then here it is. It's in the past. So
absolutely, and I got to get some good spirited cheer in here for Commissioner Plechnik, and I think you can bear witness to this. I can't say that I've ever heard a better person doing bingo calling. You made it interesting, you kept it moving, but you also related the numbers to a number of experiences and events and made things relevant, and you got a little bit of history in there. I got to give you high praise for your, how can I say this, your ability to tell a story while you're just calling off bingo numbers. So, Commissioner?
Well, Mr. President, I will confess that I played bingo at the Fairport Harbor Slovenian Club, so I have the unfair advantage of watching others do it far better and imitating the masters. But I will say, with respect to the Lake County Fair, it's always an incredible experience and a wonderful community celebration of not just agriculture, but all the best things about Lake County. You know, to have nearly 100,000 people attend a 6-day event is truly remarkable on the fairgrounds. And I'm particularly proud that this past Sunday, Latino Day, hosted by former Councilman Nelson Centrone, was our single best attended day at the Lake County Fair in our 168-year history. Over 39,000 people attended the Lake County Fair on that day alone. So just an incredible event that brings our community together and showcases all the best of Lake County. So in addition to the record-breaking 4-H auction, it truly was a record-breaking fair, and I'm just excited for the growth and the excitement next year, because I know that the fair will only continue to grow as our population and community continues to grow.
Well said, and I would also like to add to the good working relationship we have with the fair board and the support staff over there. That fair could not take place without the fair board and the support staff. The efforts are extraordinary, They do a great deal with meager resources, I dare say, but they do put on a good show, and it's truly a family-friendly, vibrant experience for all. There's something there for everybody. I don't know if you wanted to add to that, John?
Well, Mr. President, I would just say part of the reason why it's such a wonderful family-friendly experience is that our Lake County Fair has always been remarkably safe. You know, it's a wonderful environment for seniors, for kids. You know you can enjoy yourself, and that's because our sheriff's office is so dedicated to the Lake County Fair. Captain Brooks was on patrol in her golf cart the entire time. There were sheriff's deputies, you know, who were there anytime a child was lost. They immediately returned them to their parents. That's going to happen when almost 40,000 people are in the same place. But you know, year after year, we've been able to keep a wonderfully safe, family-friendly atmosphere, and that's in no small part because of the sheriff dedicating so much time and attention to it. And we're very grateful for them making sure we can safely enjoy such a big event.
Fair, no pun intended. I have to say, though, they also learn from tragedy. I would be remiss if I did not mention the loss of Grayson Yo a while back, decades. I remember the young boy, he was a Madison youth, lost his life because of an avoidable situation. But our fair board and others stepped up, took corrective actions, and as you said, now have really dedicated themselves to a safe environment, more than just from a law enforcement perspective, but from an attendance perspective. That tragedy was taken very seriously, and it did have statewide ramifications. It was, not to be lost to history. I felt that that needed to be shared. Anything else you want to add, sir?
I would just like to add that we're fortunate to have the Fair Board. We do. It seems to run seamlessly because we've had people on there for a long time. That being said, we encourage more to participate because a lot of the Fair Board are getting to the 30, 40 years of doing this, and we need good people to want to fill those positions going forward. And it's, I believe, a $25 contribution gets you eligible to be part of the fair committee and or to have a vote on it. And we need to maintain those standards, and truly every detail is thought of. Medical wheelchairs, assisting with people that need it. It's those things that people don't see is how that gets done.
Very good.
Mr. President, I feel like I have to add one more thing because we talked about how long-serving our Fair Board directors were. The current record holder remains Bob Sidley, who passed away along with his wife last November. They died 2 minutes apart, but they had both volunteered for the fair for over 60 years, and Bob had actually served 61 consecutive years as a Fair Board member. When you think about that, that's more than a third the life of the entire 168 years of Lake County Fairs that Bob helped to guide and really take the lead on making the Lake County Fair such a wonderful place. And he was the founder, of course, of R.W. Sidley Incorporated, and he and his wife made so many generous contributions to the fair, in particular, the racetrack and the Veterans Memorial. So we definitely want to remember the great contributions of Bob and Polly Sidley that will live long after them and continue to give so much joy to all the kids and families that they cared about so much.
I believe that's a record Commissioner Pleshnik can't break either.
He'll try. Got to give him credit for that. And I have to say, though, the level of enthusiasm by all those, such as ourselves, other electeds, other people who helped out with Voice of the Fair, it is a contagious environment. They're just the friendly collegial activities. It sets so many things aside, and you can kind of get down to that core goodness. I think the word wholesome comes to mind. That's a word that doesn't get used very much these days. All right, moving on. Our second public comment portion. Is anyone, sir? Mr. Massey.
Brian Massey, 8196 Rainbow Drive, on behalf of Lobbyists for Citizens. Auditor Galloway issued notice to all of the mayors and managers of Lake County, and I'd like to get it on the record. I do have a copy of a letter, an opinion letter was written by Prosecutor Charles Colson, and he was responding, and I just lost it on my phone. He was responding to Commissioner Hamercheck, your question, and here's the question. Should the Budget Commission, for those listening, the Budget Commission is made up of the prosecutor, the treasurer, and the auditor, continue to apply the alternative method of apportionment of the local government funds after the Board of County Commissioners adopted a January 26, 2012 resolution requesting that the alternative formula approved in 1982 for the distribution of local government funds be abolished. So in 1982, they came up with an alternate formula, and as I understand it, that per the Ohio Revised Code, the distribution of the local government funds can be done by a state formula, or it can be done by an alternate formula that is approved by the municipalities in the respective county. Prosecutor Colson's answer to your question was emphatically no. The January 26, 2012 resolution of the Lake County Board of Commissioners timely terminated the board's consent to continue to use the 1982 alternate formula. Without the Lake County Board of Commissioners' consent to no alternative formula may be used. Only the statutory formula in the Revised Code 574751 for the allocation of the local government funds to subdivisions may be used by the Budget Commission. When I read that, I immediately said, somebody hasn't been doing their job. So for, 10 years now? It has been illegal, the distribution that has been made by the Budget Commission. And I dare say that there have been some property tax levies that have been passed in the last 10 years that may not have been needed if the local government funds had been distributed properly. I don't know who's, whether it's nonfeasance, misfeasance, or malfeasance. It's definitely nonfeasance. Somebody had to know that back in 2012 that the commissioners wanted to back out of the alternate formula, and nobody did anything. And the Budget Commission for that time, and I've been to several Budget Commission meetings, nobody's ever talked about it. I'm going to continue to pull back the curtain on it because I'm quite disappointed that they have not been following the Ohio Revised Code. And I keep hearing we do everything legal. Obviously, unless, Commissioner Hamercheck, you can point out that where I am misreading this, somebody hasn't been doing their job.
I'm going to look to legal on this one, but I would caution against using the term illegal distribution, or I would say that I will look to legal because I'm sure you have the proper eloquent way to word that.
I don't know if it's eloquent, but I will say this. This issue came to light from Commissioner Hamercheck. I remember he mentioned it in a public meeting maybe as early as January.
Thereabouts.
And there was a lot of work that went into researching this issue. Obviously, this 2012 was well before any of these board members were commissioners.
Understand.
So, that being said, there is a Budget Commission meeting this Monday, right? First Monday in August. I anticipate that some discussion will be had with regard to the alternate formula and that opinion that was distributed by Mr. Galloway that was requested by Commissioner Hamercheck.
Mm-hmm. Well, Commissioner Hamercheck is trying to follow the law. I mean, I mentioned this to I was at the Concord Township trustee meeting last night, and I mentioned it to all three trustees who were contemplating, and they did pass a resolution that they're going to put on the November ballot, a 6.5 mil safety levy. 6.5. Right now it's at 4, but the effective rate is 3.0. So the Concord Township residents are looking at 116% increase in that particular levy from 3.0 effective rate to a 6.5. And as I mentioned to the trustees, how do they know? They don't have all the facts. We may, Concord may get, half or twice what they're getting right now. But when I look at the distribution of the local government funds, and I see that Concord is getting $168,000, Painesville Township Park, a park district, is getting $80,000, and then I see the distribution to Wade Hill. Wade Hill is getting more with fewer residents than Concord Township. I think I've mentioned to the commissioners, maybe not this particular board of commissioners, but I've been following this local government funds for quite some time, and I did an analysis of if the formula, which is based on percent population, that Concord over the 10-year period I looked at, they were shortchanged over $6 million, which would have been a nice fire department that they're thinking about building. So this is some serious ramifications, and I appreciate you, Commissioner Hamercheck, bring it to light that we have to. We keep saying we got to follow the law. Got to follow the law. Somebody back in 2012 knew about it. Somebody on the Budget Commission had to know about it and didn't do the job. At the least, that's nonfeasance. They knew of it, but didn't do anything about it, and I will let the residents of Lake County know. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Massey, for acknowledging my efforts to follow the law. That seems to get lost in a lot of these discussions. We are creatures of statute, and I think you were referring to the statutory formula when you talk about the state, just because there's a lot of terms that are going to be flying around in the coming weeks. And I trust this board will work diligently with the other electeds here in Lake County to work through this and have as little harm as possible, because there will need to be some serious conversations. We're going to need to be taking a very candid look at where are we at, what are the things we're going to point to, such as census, such as the updates yearly to the census. Also, we're going to need to take a look at need. Those are the things that have been grossly overlooked. So we do also try to minimize the impact. There are going to be winners, there are going to be losers. We need to make a sincere effort to minimize the harm. And I use the harm because those who are going to be no longer receiving monies from donor communities. I think we can all say that Concord is sort of the poster community for being a donor community. So thank you for your candor and your conceding the point of law associated with this. Is there anyone else wishing to address the board at this time? Anyone? Yes, ma'am.
Tammy Gaber, 6023 Ford Road. I want to thank Mr. Regovich for working to negotiate a solution to the Ford, Payne, and Williams Road problems. It's a beginning. We're looking for what's the next step. What I don't understand is why we have to negotiate to come up to 8 people in the county when you're sworn to serve, and why we residents, trustees, and EMS service representatives had to repeatedly come to the meetings since April in order to get the project moving. But I do appreciate you stepping up, and instead of constantly trying to deflect the concerns and problems of your constituency and blaming somebody else, that you went to work to find a resolution and become a source of the solution instead of the problem. And I really appreciate that. Thank you. I do have a couple other questions, but I was hoping to ask the engineer's office a couple of things, not to point fingers or anything, just to get some information. Because as residents, we start talking about things, and rather than speculating, we'd like, just to have some information. I mean, how do the projects get prioritized? I mean, Payne Road's been closed for over a year. Ford Road's on a year, and Williams Road just got shut down, but yet Williams Road seems to be the first project that's going to take off.
Another engineer?
So the reason that it was chosen to, excuse me,
That's right.
move forward with Williams first was Williams was the project that was able to be designed the quickest.
Okay.
And so they were able to step up and be able to move forward. Ford Road is the most complex, so that is going through the process of having type studies and determining what the best approach is. Payne is also in the process, and that will be plans complete. We anticipate in the next few weeks.
Okay.
So if funding was available, that would be able to move forward afterwards.
Well, and I guess that's my other question, because I think it was you stated last week that, because Ford Road was shut down during the flood, and then there's been patchwork done on it, hoping it would get another 10 to 15 years, but obviously that didn't hold true. But knowing that it was going to eventually give way, just like Payne, because I've driven Payne Road for 30 plus years, and over 30 plus years, that road sinks constantly. It's a crack and it sinks, and we keep waiting for it to slide into the river. So, I mean, those projects, you had to know that those projects were going to come to a critical mass at some point. So why weren't we preparing for that like 2-3 years ago? I mean, that's what I guess the residents don't understand.
So we have been preparing for that. Payne Road, the project number was 2011 on that they've been looking, and it's been doing those repairs, those patches, those things that were anticipated to get 15, 20 years until funding would become available. Ford is a little bit different with a bridge, and a lot of people have asked about that when they see us putting Booth and Bishop, Manchester Mantle. These are the projects that we were able to receive federal funding for. But unfortunately, because Madison is rural, Ford Road doesn't qualify for that same funding. So when you have failures, such as on Madison Avenue, that are over $1 million repairs back to back in years, it starts to take that funding that would be available from our income to work on those roads.
Kind of figured Madison Avenue had to play into that at some point. But I mean, still, we've been knowing for this long that, I mean, it would seem, is there like, can you not put funds ahead for these things as you go? Like a portion of the budget be funded into these knowing that the failures are coming? That just makes sense to me, but maybe they're not allowed to because of spending requirements?
If I could interrupt you.
Yeah.
If you put the money into this, what else is not going to get done? They have an entire laundry list of responsibilities and a finite amount of money. So to say that you're going to save money implies that there's extra money.
And that makes sense.
That's been a heated point of contention here. I will take the heat off of you, Madam Engineer.
There's no heat intended. It's just a request for an explanation so we can relate it. I understand that.
But there are those who are saying that the engineer is sitting on a big pot of money, and if they just reallocate those dollars, that is not the case.
Mm-hmm.
They are strained on their staffing. They have requirements that they need to meet, and there's only so many dollars to go around. So let's say if you had only planned for that, again, I'm going to say what she can't.
Well, and that's great, and that's why we're asking the questions and not just speculating. We're asking the questions to get the explanation, and that's all that is. It's not a pointing a finger. And I know that in my own household or in other situations where I've been budget. You got to rob Peter sometimes to pay Paul, and I fully am aware of that. We're just looking for the explanations. The other thing is, and I don't know what the solution is or if anything can be done, or but I don't know if you've been on Ford Road, at least on the east side of it. It's not just the bridge. The road itself is falling apart, and I don't know if there's a weight load, except for local traffic or people that live or deliveries. We were last week. Excuse me, we watched 40 to 60 loads of 3 triaxle trucks tearing down our road of asphalt going into Geauga County. We followed them going into Geauga County to repair Mosley Road. And when I called Geauga County, because I did call Geauga County, and I asked them not to run these triaxles down Ford Road because our road cannot take the weight, they said, well, that's the detour route. You're a county road. They were very nice, but that's the detour route that gets them to Mosley. Now, in South Clay, they weren't doing any work on Clay Street on our end. It was all after Mosley Road, and they were repairing Mosley Road. Mosley Road comes off 528. It's a direct shot into Lake County, or into Geauga County. They did not need to run down a bad Lake County road to repair their roads and beat up our roads some more. So I don't know if there's, because we do sometimes have semis for whatever reason, especially before the bridge was closed, we'd had them take detour routes. So I don't know if there's something that can be, I see other roads that have weight limits put on it, except for local traffic, if that's an option for what we have, because it is, to watch 60 plus trucks just constantly rolling is a bit ridiculous when they could be going off in their own road. So I would appreciate anything that can be considered in that aspect. Thank you. Thanks for your explanations.
You're welcome. I did want to share with you that our crews, maintenance crews, are out today.
I did see them.
That is their assignment for this week, their task. They're doing a throw and go asphalt. It's not the mill and fill, it's not the perfect road, but it'll get us through so that once we do the bridge project, then we can come back and do a mill and fill project there.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Engineer. Anyone else wish to address the board? Sir.
Two items. One, getting back to the fair, I mentioned last week that the insider tip was by the Carcass Project. Let me show you how that panned out. So the Grand Champion steer went for $10.50 a pound, and it was a 1,460 pound animal. So over $14,000 for that animal. Whereas the Grand Champion Carcass, which was 692 pounds, went for $10 a pound. Same price, but in that case, only about $7,000, and you bought the edible meat, not everything else. Okay. Similarly, with the Reserve Champions, both went for $6. You could have bought the 1,239 pound live animal, or you could have bought the 720 pound carcass that was freezer wrapped and ready to go home and eat. Okay. The other thing I wanted to talk about, and tagging on to Mr. Massey here, I actually read that ORC and have been looking for other documentation, but I don't remember if I read it in the ORC, but I believe under this formula for distribution of government funds, doesn't the county get 50% of that money? Everybody know? Or in other words, a much greater percentage than what's been doled out to the cities and townships? Or they're supposed to get it under the Ohio Revised Code.
Are you asking what we get now, or?
No, I'm asking the percentages, how it's...
Under the state formula?
Yeah, so my understanding, there's a state formula of how those funds are distributed to the county and the subdivisions of the county, townships and cities. And then there's the alternate plan, that's how the money has been distributed. And I just wanted to find out if you could affirm or deny that the state's plan, the statutory plan, is supposed to send half of that money to the county.
To say explicitly that, no, I do not read it as such. Lake County currently receives 11 cents on the dollar approximate. The formula takes into account many factors. I think arguably, if you look at those factors, in total, Lake County would receive significantly more than 11%. To give you an absolute certainty of 50%, it's not explicitly called out, but you'd have to follow the formula and arrive at what that distribution would be. I don't think it's more than 50%, and I'm going to kind of look to legal on this.
With regard to the statutory formula, my understanding is that there's one county in the state of Ohio that uses that. And it's a very, very complex formula.
Okay.
I'm not even going to begin to pontificate on that. I'm not qualified to.
Okay.
I suspect the county would get more money under the statutory formula. How much more percentage-wise, I don't know. And I don't know that any calculation has been done with regard to that at this point in time. And again, the Budget Commission is going to meet this coming Monday, the 7th, and I suspect that will be a topic of discussion.
Thank you. So, in any event, if the county's portion under the statutory plan is greater than, as you say, Commissioner Hamercheck, the 11%, what I would like to know as a citizen is, can those funds, can you go back to the statutory plan, and can those funds then be used, the county's portion of them, for the jail, the roads and the bridges, where we so desperately need to allocate funds to come up with the numbers to move forward on these projects?
Speaking broadly, those dollars would go to the general fund. Where they go from the general fund would be a topic of discussion for this board.
Okay, so as the commissioners, you three decide where the general fund money gets spent, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. So I would like, as a citizen, I would like to see that publicly put out there, or I'm sure Mr. Massey is going to request that information. I'll look forward to seeing it on your website. Thank you.
Mr. President?
Sir.
I just want to say thank you to Mr. Weiss for his kind words earlier and for coming out to the 4-H livestock auction. I'm hoping that next year every elected official in the county will come together, join in, and we'll have another record-breaking year.
Thank you. Sir.
Good morning. Tim Brown. I'm Madison Township's administrator. I'm here on behalf of Madison Township. Items 14 and 15 on the agenda for today. Does that reference any funding being appropriated into the line item which was created a couple weeks ago to help fund those projects?
Stand by. Those are different funds.
So there's still no funding in that line item which was created a couple weeks ago?
There would be $0 in that fund, sir.
Okay, all I needed. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Auditor Galloway. I'm assuming you're just not standing there sunning yourself.
He did that this morning.
Christopher.
I know we're in for when you have that Cheshire Cat.
Christopher Galloway, Lake County Auditor. I happened to actually just catch this last portion of the meeting as I finished up a mediation call with our attorneys on the East Lake Power Plant, and I see that there's some discussion on the LGF formula. What I would caution everyone on as we move forward with this process, and this is, I'm addressing the president as I have to, but it's not really directed at him, it's really directed at everybody, including the public, is to sort of pump the brakes in terms of wild speculation on who may get what.
the interpretation of memos, etc. We will have a budget hearing meeting on Monday, our Budget Commission meeting on Monday. As you know, I've invited all representatives of all, or encouraged all the local entities to send a representative and be in attendance. And I say pump the brakes because it's my intention to ask the prosecutor's office to forward the memo to the Attorney General for an additional review, and I will do so on Monday. Again, we have one attorney's opinion, and perhaps that's a team, but in essence, it's Prosecutor Colson's opinion. I do know that in discussing this and calls I've received from other local jurisdictions, they don't necessarily agree with that opinion on what transpired in 2012 and the actions that were taken at the time of the committee that was convened and met. And so I think we're going to get into some legal interpretation on what happened, intent, where are we now, and then what's the path forward. So my goal and again, I say also pump the brakes on what everybody's going to get. You're hearing numbers thrown around. For me, this becomes sort of reckless speculation. I can tell you right now that the state statutory formula is not based on population. My early look at that formula is that other than potentially the county, there's nobody that's going to get a windfall if we went to the state statutory formula. There are communities that would get a little less. There are communities that would get a little more, but by and large, my initial look, and my office has been already working on this because we know we're going to be asked, that most communities really aren't going to change much. And at least it appears that way as of right now. Some communities, townships, might actually see cuts based on versus what we have now, based on need. And need becomes a legal budgetary definition, not a, hey, I want something. So I just want to kind of encourage everyone that's watching this, or is like, we're going to go through a very orderly process. At least that's my goal as chairman of the Budget Commission. Obviously, I wasn't here in 2012, but I am here now. So my process is going to be as orderly as possible. It starts with this meeting on Monday, inviting all the entities to have a conversation. I think we're going to have additional legal review, hopefully, on the matter to see where we are. And then we will start to formulate a sort of step-by-step orderly process moving forward. So I just kind of wanted to weigh in on this because I got a little alarm sitting in my office when suddenly there were millions of dollars here and illegal that, or we have one attorney opinion. And we all know if we put 5 attorneys in a room, we're going to get 7 opinions. So let's just go ahead and see what the Attorney General says. Let's see what other law directors and legal counsels on our local entities think of the memo. I know Mr. Hackman has him and his team have done a lot of great research. But I know that Prosecutor Colson would be the first to say that that's their office's opinion and is not law, is not a decision by a judge. So, I think it's just important for we all kind of keep that in perspective. So I just want to kind of weigh in on that, because so folks sitting at home are like, whoa, what's going on? The reality may be that that the formula we've used for the last decade, since 2012, may be perfectly appropriate. So that's a point of contention, and I think we'll work our way through that in an orderly fashion. And hopefully all the entities within the county, come to the table with the same spirit of, okay, let's be orderly in how we go about this. So thank you. You guys have any questions of me before I skedaddle?
Mr. President. If I may, the only thing I would add is it is in ongoing conversation with Prosecutor Colson. I believe he has, if not already done so, he will be forwarding that to the Attorney General. So that will be taking place. I do need to emphasize that we are talking about, this is not contract law. so intent does not apply.
That's true.
So I will look to legal, though, because you can say it far better than I. Or did I just say it fine?
You said it just fine, Commissioner. This is not based on contract principles.
Thank you. So again, we have to be very careful in interpreting, which is where having collegial, strong relationships, working with our mayors and managers, working with the Township Association, this is where the elected officials need to come together, because this kind of government financing and funding, this is not like balancing a checkbook. This is truly the sausage making, if ever there was. And I do not envy you having to navigate these waters, because if you look at the statutory formula, dear God, the Manhattan Project.
Simpler, yeah.
It's just, you know.
I will say, just so everybody understands, there are 88 counties in Ohio, and only one uses the state statutory formula. And there is a reason for that, because it is such a nightmare. And it is so complicated and convoluted. We've already begun the process of putting it together, trying to assemble it. And again, I'll get into more of that on Monday. But I just wanted to kind of come up and go. I didn't want over the weekend, there'd be a lot of speculation out there on this, that, or the other, because we're on
2 jails for this?
We're all on basically step 0 at this point. So we have an opinion from the prosecutor, and let's see what how we can go about this in an orderly fashion before we make any determination. So, but we'll get into that more obviously on Monday as part of the Budget Commission. So,
Mr. Regovich, I believe you had something you want to add
Yes, I think it's important to add too that State of Ohio has asked all counties to look at their formula, right, coming May 1st.
Yeah, so they, in the last budget, there was a item put in the budget regarding the Budget Commission, asking that within a year of the passage of the law that we have a public hearing, the Budget Commission hold a public hearing to discuss the alternative formula adopted by the county for the LGF. And so we would have a meeting, obviously, by law. This meeting will not be that meeting, because that law budget is actually not in effect yet, in terms of the law change. But it would be my goal to have that, sometime early in 2024. I would point out that, however, the legislature put in that requirement for us to hold that meeting, but then also added no other direction as to what you must do with that meeting. So in essence, they just required 88 complaint sessions, I guess, across the state, but with no direction of thou shalt do or anything else along that lines. So kind of an odd. It's like doing it halfway, right? Like they got everybody at the table and then said, yeah, okay, you can meet, and then what? They didn't say we had to re-adopt anything or do anything. So, but yes, you are correct. And there is a increased interest after this budget process, I can tell you, out of the legislature on the local government fund, local taxation. As you probably are aware, they've sent up a joint committee, the House and the Senate, to work on the property tax, the local property tax question, the concern that some legislators have on the ever-growing increase in local property taxes. I'm at least very pleased right now that they seem to be very open to hearing things from groups like the auditors and the commissioners on what's going on at the local level. So we'll see if this committee ends up being anything, or like many joint committees in legislative history, it's where ideas go to die and then we never hear about it again. It's my intention, and I know my association, the County Auditors Association, is we are fully engaged. We've already had our own meetings on what we are going to recommend to the legislature as it relates to reforms. And one of the things that we will be asking the legislature to look at will be reform of the Budget Commission. So.
And while we have you, I think it's also proper to mention that the local government fund is part of the revenue sharing. The revenues that are being shared are decreasing. I think there was a 5% decrease.
So even though the legislature increased the percentage going to the local government fund, after the tax cuts, we're actually going to see, it's estimated, about a 5% reduction in the LGF. So there is, we'll call it increased competition for diminishing resources. So yes, that's also sort of, and obviously that's an estimate. If actual collections are higher, we could see more like we did this year. If they're lower, we obviously could see less. So right now it's estimated to be a 5% reduction for the Lake County and all the entities in the county.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. President, I just want to say thanks to the auditor and his staff for helping to clarify this issue. I know that every mayor, trustee, and council person is going to want to see preliminary numbers and continue to have updates from us on where this is in the process. It is a zero-sum game, unfortunately. As you said, there's a diminishing amount of money and increased competition for it, and we want to make sure that everyone has a full understanding of what is happening without being blindsided or surprised. So I'm really grateful that you came to clarify.
Well, thanks for having me.
And on that theme, I'll just throw this out there, the theme of what did we know and when did we know it? As soon as the information became available, we got it out there. So before anybody thinks something was sat on for 6 months or more, there was a great deal of research. And as soon as that research came to a conclusion, that conclusion was shared immediately. So I think within 48 hours, if I'm not mistaken. So I think we can call that more than timely. Okay, we are still in our second public comment portion. Is there anyone else wishing to address the board? Anyone else, sir?
Good morning, Commissioners. John Mara, 39 Minnewawa Drive, Timberlake. Last week I would just make a correction. I said Cleveland for some reason. I don't know why, even though I was born there. I live in Timberlake. Anyway, last week I mentioned that I went on a field trip and I went to go visit the closures, the road closures in Madison, Ford Road, Williams, and also Payne. Again, my sentiments are still, I don't understand, I guess, or my first request was I wanted to see the study, if there was a study done, engineering study in for Ford Road closure. I guess I wanted to see that and how they came to that determination that it cannot be at least repaired structurally until we can get it replaced. I mean, we're talking, it's been closed a year, another year at least until, because we don't have the funding money now anyway still, and we still don't have the plans drawn or anything. So I guess how are we going to pay for this replacement that honestly is like I said, it's going to take a lot of money. The biggest thing now is like, can the engineer look at other ways of just getting us some time repairing this thing and getting it so that it is safe to be reopened again? Again, I mentioned consolidation grouting, which I don't believe the engineer looked at. You said first go around, maybe they can relook at that, and let's look at maybe plan A again for instead of, I know eventually we'll have to replace this, but again.
If I could just interrupt you on that point though, I think we're getting into some, I hate to use the word wild speculation, but although what you're talking about is a technology and a technique, we have to look at what is the cost, what is the life expectancy, what is the reliability, and if we don't have the money to do a proper fix, we sure as heck don't have the money to do a Band-Aid repair. Madam Engineer, I don't know if you want to address that, but I just want to interrupt on that because this level of speculation is conjuring up a lot of people wanting to talk about, let's just build us a proper bridge. This is not the River Kwai we're talking about. So, Madam Engineer?
I did go back and bring up your idea about the grouting. They said it's not feasible in this application. They were looking at the global stability of the soils and where the failures are. And so it was not a viable option to be able to do that. We've done many repairs, again, as we mentioned, on Payne and on Ford. There's been several repairs, and we're to a point now where it's not cost effective to continue to spend. They gave me one idea to be able to do, but they're looking at $200,000, $300,000 after we've been putting in money previously. We're just like with the jail, as they mentioned, you get to a point where now you have to stop and you have to look at how do you make this last for another 50, 100 years? What's the best investment with the funding that you do have?
But will that $200,000 reopen the road?
even if it reopened the road and it only lasted another year or two, was that a good investment?
Yes,
when
because
you're
it
looking
opens up the,
for-
it's a,
Sir,
I'm
that's
sorry.
a matter of opinion, and
It's a
this is not-
safety issue.
This is not a matter of time for debate. If you wish to have this conversation with the engineer, I suggest you make an appointment.
And can I finish my,
Yes, sir. I just want to be abundantly clear, though. This is not going to turn into a beat up the engineer session.
no, it won't be. But my feeling is that we're at least a year out before this thing gets rebuilt, okay? What do we do for the year? We have safety issues. We have EMS cannot get down. We have fire trucks cannot get down. If we have something that can, for $200,000, can buy us a year's time so we can get the money, get it basically designed and get it constructed, okay? And then we close it right before we get ready to construct it so that we leave this, I'm just an idea. I'm sorry if I
The point being,
upset everyone, but
by
again,
the time they would be done with those temporary fixes, they'd be ripping them out to start the construction. Do the timeline. You can map it out on the back of a napkin. What you're suggesting is not practical. It sounds great until you put the timeline. It will not work. It is not a practical use, and they don't even have the $200,000 to put into it. I don't know what part of we're missing the $800,000 they had to loan themselves when they repaired Madison Avenue. Those were back-to-back $1 million plus events. Nobody's looking at the big picture. Forgive my passion on this, but for God's sakes, can we please look at the practical applications? You're right, this is life safety. You're right, we are playing Russian roulette with people's lives. I appreciate what you're saying. I would write the damn check right now and fix these roads. So I want to be abundantly clear on that. We're sitting on $114 million. Open the damn roads. Sorry, I too have a great deal of passion on this, and I'm trying to be as restrained as possible, but Band-Aid fixes are only a distraction. Fixes that we would put in and rip right back out again within a few weeks.
well, I'm sorry I hit a nerve, Mr. President.
You did,
Thank
because I want to see these opened as much as you do. I live out there. Okay. Madam Engineer, anything you want to add to the conversation?
No, Commissioner, I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, ma'am. Gentlemen, anything you want to add? Thank you. All right, is there anyone else wishing to address the board? I apologize for my passion, but I too want to see these roads and bridges reopened in as timely a way as possible. I don't want to see anybody suffer or die. I grow tired of this. I grow tired of this. Okay, anyone else wishing to address the board at this time? All right, well, with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn our meeting. Or we can sit here all day.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Bregovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Pletcher.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammerton.
Yes. Thank you for joining us today. This meeting stands adjourned.